Welcome to Finding Monster Right, the show about finding monsters. Shiny? I'm
Captain Adam.
Fuck! He always gets me with the captain. I'm Allie, and today we are releasing this episode on July 4th, if I get the episode ready in time for Tuesday. I'm supposed to release the episodes on Tuesday. It is always on Wednesday, though, because I'm me. But anyway, Adam, why don't you go ahead and give the Independence Day speech? Don't look it up.
Yeah, okay. Our annual Adam tries his best at Independence Day speech. The aliens are here!
Nope.
They're coming from the mountaintop. They're coming across the sea. They're coming through the wheat fields, through the valleys, through the trees. We're going to stop them with our guns, like all good Americans do. But hey, this broadcast is going all across the world. All of you can learn how to use guns on this day. Everyone's American on this Independence Day. From the aliens and their ships. Go us. That's USA, but without the A because we're all American. Us.
You stink! Statistically, there were probably some people in the real Independence Day that really happened. The real Independence Day crowd that were mad.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I didn't vote for this kind of alien nonsense. This wouldn't have happened under the other guy.
Mm-hmm. There was MLK in that. There was Winston Churchill, I think. There was.
Yeah, no, that was my best at recollecting Winston Churchill for Independence Day recollection.
You know, one day in the future, there's going to be another Independence Day. This is not me trying to do the speech. There's going to be another independence movement, and it might fail, but that's okay. Just as long as we can keep flying. I'm talking about the war of the Outer Rim planets that want to be independent versus the Sino-American alliance that took mankind to the stars. Because today we are unfortunately in the position of celebrating Unification Day, where the Alliance solidifies its control over the inhabited worlds of the verse. Except there's a threat to that unification, and it's of the Alliance's own making. We're talking Firefly, we're talking Serenity, we're talking Be Reaver or Not, a space cannibal's guide to Serenity.
Yes. Our first foray, 130 episodes into one of your once favorite sci-fi series, correct?
Yeah. So Firefly, it was a series that ran in like 2002 on Fox for 14 episodes, and it's very famous in like 2000s, 2010s kind of geek culture as this like, big famous tragic tale of like a really awesome space western show that was cut short, and then they made it into a movie.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of our generation's first experience with like studio meddling.
Mm-hmm.
Was the events of this series, and it was concluded thankfully in 2005 with the film Serenity. The Reavers are the monsters of that series.
Yes, the protagonist of that show, Malcolm Bisexual Awakening Reynolds, and his other crew, including Inara Bisexual Awakening Sarah. That's a true fact. That's a true fact about me. As I saw,
it's the whole cast, right?
No, I mean it's mostly those two. Like I saw them flirting, and I was like, "Wait, why is both? Wait, why am I changing?" Then I started glowing.
I guess I love this series. That's the only explanation here.
It must be that I'm such a fan of the works of Joss Whedon, who will never probably do anything fucked up. I bet he'll never try and throw Ezra Miller at Gal Gadot's boobs. I bet he'll never do that and then threaten her career for the sake of a joke that is just really uproariously impotent. Anyway, Reavers.
Yeah.
if this is a Western, Reavers are the stand-in for the Apache, except without, baggage of...
racial tie-ins. Yeah.
Yeah. It's,
Yeah, that's a straight-up Joss Whedon quote, that it's, every story needs a monster. And the Old West was the Apache. So this is the kind of space equivalent. Same reason why we're rooting for the rebels in a Civil War equivalent tale.
Yeah, I mean, they were just fighting for independence in the show. They weren't fighting to keep slaves. That would be fucked up.
Yes, it would, and they did not.
Thank God.
Maybe I'm glad that upon cancellation, Joss Whedon left the public eye instead of sticking around J.K. Rowling style and just fucking up all his work.
Yeah, just tweeting.
He's actually, they did have some slaves if you think about it.
Actually, they just pooped wherever they wanted on the Serenity. I know there's
a lesser alien race that did all their chores for them, and they loved it.
Famously, there is a scene in Firefly where Mal uses the bathroom, I think, at some point, or it shows him folding up a toilet and zipping up his fly or something, and then
in the pilots, and I remember because when I first saw it, I'm like, man, that's really unsanitary. He uses the toilet, then he has to pull out the sink. Who cleans that thing?
Yeah, but it actually, they just pooped wherever they wanted.
Pooping anywhere is spitting in the face of the Alliance, which is they're all about.
The crazy thing is, and I learned this from Mass Effect, if you poop in space, and that turd is just going to keep going and going and going until it hits a planet or a star or something and burns up.
Ass Effect.
I mean, in that I think it's about in that I think it's about a missile or something, but.
Oh, I see.
That's kind of fucked up. If you just fire a missile, if you fire a bullet in space and it misses, it's just gonna keep going until it kills somebody in some fucking direction.
I love the idea of that happening to just our planet in general. It was some alien misfired something 55 billion years ago. And it's fuck. Whoopsie-doo. What are the odds of that happening, huh?
Fazzuck, all the dinosaurs are dead. Anyway, we're getting way off track. There are no aliens in Firefly, famously. It's all Reavers all the time, baby. And what is a Reaver? Well, the story that the Alliance would tell you, and what they believe at the beginning of the series, is that the original Reavers were people who have been to the edge of the galaxy and just kind of went space mad. They just went a little space crazy. This explanation I find Lovecraftian, which in this case is a word that means simple-minded and needlessly frightened.
Hey, you there?
When River and Simon, two of the characters, are on the outside of the ship, they see the vacuum of space in the episode Bushwhacked, which features them finding kind of a ghost ship that has been attacked by Reavers. So River and Simon see the vacuum of space. River is staring at it kind of with wonder, and Simon only looks at it briefly after he notices what his sister's doing before his anxiety gets the better of him and he turns back. And Joss Whedon, famous monster who threw Ezra Miller at Gal Gadot's boobs, said that the show is about 9 people staring at the void of space and each one seeing something different. So that is the first hint that just going to the edge of space, going to the edge of the galaxy where there's no stars and no lights and just seeing darkness and just looking at it, that doesn't drive you crazy, right?
Right. Perhaps there's other ingredients in this concoction.
Chemical X.
Sorta.
So we'll get into that, but in the pilot episode in Serenity, chronologically the first episode of the show, they detect a ship that is running without core containment and thus giving off lots of radiation. And so a lot of pop science, did you know that Spider-Man has been made about the Reavers and radioactivity. But the word radiation isn't what tips Mal off that it's Reavers. The color only drains from his face when Wash says, "That's suicide." So Reavers don't have anything to do with radioactivity, they just don't care about self-preservation.
Yes, they're very self-flagellating in several ways. One of which being not caring about radiation.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, they self-mutilate as part of this kind of space madness. They peel parts of their skin, replace it with metal pieces, turning them into both a physical and a very scary creatures.
Yeah. They pick up one survivor on the ghost ship that escaped the Reavers somehow, and the Reavers forced him to watch as they, like, butchered and did all these terrible things. The famous quote from Zoe is,
if they take the ship, they'll rape us to death, eat our flesh, and sew our skins into their clothing. And if we're very, very lucky, they'll do it in that order.
So he was forced to watch them do that to, like, a crew of 16, like, settler families. And he just went fucking crazy. They take him into the infirmary, and he just starts saying some just wonderful things. Like, let me put a little spice on this. No mercy. No mercy. No resistance. They were weak. Cattle for the slaughter. Open up. See what's inside. No. Ha ha ha!
Yeah, so a broken individual, clearly.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I've said this same thing after working customer service.
Yeah, I think enough of that, where you basically see these 3 acts of terribleness occur every day.
Open up, see what's inside is one of those things that sounds nice until you take it literally.
Yeah, I think a nice closed lid on that's usually pretty good.
Yeah. So the Reaver-to-be splits his own tongue down the middle, so he stops talking. And it looks like he's wearing syringe needles as facial piercings in order to, as Mal puts it, look like them. So, using only this episode as a reference, Reaver psychosis seems to be a culture-bound syndrome like Wendigo psychosis, or that thing from India where you think you're pregnant with puppies. It's like the game. You can't get this exact form of psychosis if you've never heard of the legend, quote-unquote, of the Reavers before. It is a mythology-born psychological pathogen, or MBPP, as I have just called it now.
So yeah, you're saying that the effect is more groupthink than it is like actual. There's no virus that's being transmitted between people. It's not a vampirism or anything like that.
Yeah, it's more Lovecraftian as the series presents it, which Mal describes the brutality of the acts that the Reaver-to-be was forced to watch as a darkness darker than you can imagine. And yet, he describes the darkness that made the original Reavers as being in intergalactic space where there's no stars and everything's dark. So, is the Reaver darkness metaphorical or physical? And that is a question that is important to have in mind when you watch my favorite movie of all time, not true, Serenity 2005.
It's not Serenity 2019, it's the one with the papyrus font.
Yeah, so that makes it good, as Avatar taught us.
Yeah,
so let me read from my notes directly here, as I've been doing definitely the whole time. Folks, anytime I'm reading something and it sounds like I'm reading from my notes, I am. So, we begin our tale with a logo that turns into Earth That Was, in an opening narration that's actually a video embedded in a PowerPoint in a proto-solarpunk classroom in a dream that Reaver's having while she's being tortured as Simon watches. Doesn't become a Reaver, though, because he's pretending to be an inspector, but really it's a rescue operation, and they begin to escape from the lab, but actually it's a security hologram that the operative is watching, presumably years after the fact, and then he asks the security hologram where River and Simon are hiding, and then the title card of the movie comes up with the answer, Serenity, and then we cut to outside the Serenity, and we move in with the Oneer. This movie begins as many times as Return of the King ends.
Yeah, I'm just putting that together now, having rewatched this intro. I'm like, oh yeah, no, this was moving. And I'm like, wait a second, what actually occurred here?
What actually occurred here is Chiwetel Ejiofor killed a guy with a sword and then asked ChatGPT a question.
Yeah, Serenity, I mean, it matches because Firefly is a series that had to, like, start over so many times because of airing of episodes, so I'm with it.
Yeah. So Chiwetel Ejiofor, as the nameless government operative of the Parliament of the Alliance, murders a bunch of people in like a weird sociopathic way, where he's like, "This is a good death. You should fall on your sword," and such and such. And a person who looks like some kind of like PA or a secretary or something sees him do all that murder, and she does not become a Reaver. So I don't know how Reaver psychosis works.
I see.
Like, because if it's a culture-bound syndrome, then like watching any murder can make you a Reaver if you think it'll make you a Reaver, right?
Well, I don't know. Is there more to it? Is the torture, the cannibalism, those aspects?
Is she like...
Or is it just the darkness?
Is she like finding syringes and putting them in her face, like doing some dope like secretary one-liners, like, let's put a pin in that, stab?
I'll find room for you this Wednesday. Stab.
I'm sorry, he's on vacation. Behead. So later in the movie,
that's the worst one.
Yeah. Later in the movie, we discover the source of the Reaver psychosis, the real source.
It's a planet called Miranda.
You're a monster. Miranda. Punching a bunch of people in my room, I guess.
Oh.
What did I miss?
Witnessing this, I have to insert some syringes into my face.
Oh no. Let's put a pin in that. So...
Yeah, let's put a pin in that. Yeah.
No, not like that. Oh, Christ. So, the G23 Pax hydrochlorate is a pharmaceutical drug from the sound of it that the Alliance pumped.
Hooray!
Yay!
Big Pharma, let's go! Big win for Big Pharma. Hi there, I'm the CEO of chemical agent G23 Paxillion dihydrochlorate. They call me Big Daddy Pax. I'm happy to present that our experiments done to these innocent people of Miranda, it was entirely a success.
Entirely.
This is day one, by the way.
Right. So the Alliance pumped that into the atmosphere of Miranda, and because they wanted to socio-pharmaceutically engineer world peace by pumping in a drug that negates aggression, which, like, imagine, like, the first, like, draft one of that is just, like, dude, we gotta burn all the weed on the planet, man. We gotta fucking let all these people litty.
It's the what is it called, the weed head.
The weed heads.
Damn it.
Stoner?
It's the weed heads, yeah. The weed heads that accidentally, like, fuck their way up higher and higher into the government. And they're like, what are we gonna do? And it's like, let's just spread peace throughout the land, man. You mean chemically altering the air of the land? This is a great idea.
Dude, I'm chemically altering myself right now, man. That's not how stoners talk. Everyone I know except Adam is a stoner. I don't know.
I like the idea of the stoners, like, having traveled away from the Earth that was. It's like, oh man, we haven't found our fix yet, man. What's the new fix?
There's just a bunch of huge generation ships on their way to the verse system, and then, like, just tied to the back with rope is just like a fucking mystery machine van.
Yeah, the tag-alongs.
So the 30 million Mirandans stopped fighting, and then they stopped working, breeding, talking, eating, and then they eventually just kind of let all of themselves die, except about 0.1% of the population, so about 30,000 souls, had the opposite reaction to Pax, and their quote-unquote aggressor response increased beyond madness. What's interesting here is it's a drug, not a virus. It doesn't spread. Mm-hmm. So the second and third generations of Reavers that are made from watching brutality happen, they are materially different from the original survivors of Miranda. So are the Reavers really reproducing via this madness?
So you're saying that these are what I call your patient zero of Reavers, and that the ones that we encountered throughout the series and are presumably out there are not the same people bodies.
Yeah, and this is like what Mal says earlier about the darkness that people are forced to witness versus the physical darkness of space. It's like a question of
I see.
It's ambiguous of like, are the Reavers brought about by a physical, a biochemical thing, or are they brought about psychologically? And that kind of is, that kind of plants a seed in your head.
Mm-hmm.
The lack of self-preservation on the Reavers' part, is that really the opposite of the response most of the Mirandans had to Pax? Because it seems like, one way or another, the effect of Pax is a effect on self-preservation.
Yeah, I think that it's the intended effect is there for both of them. It's just, they're trying to curb aggression, and would you describe the Reavers as being aggression incarnate? Because I don't think that totally matches them.
I don't think they're not aggression incarnate. I think that's a pretty good...
Okay.
Yeah, they're pretty, they're really just, fucking go full Banana Town crazy. Like if I got really mad at my customer service job and I was kill the cattle, eat the pigs, or whatever the fuck the Reavers said that one time, I feel like if I went full crazy, it would be Reaver. I feel like if people go full crazy, they go Reaver.
Yeah, I think that that tracks with what occurs there. So yeah, is this a kind of Lovecraftian call as they travel throughout the verse? Are they saying are they kind of just speaking to people's base instincts, their primal nature, and saying hey, you, this is where it's at right now. Non-stop violence, no thinking, no nothing. Come join the party.
Is River, as a psychic super spy, able to beat up all those Reavers in that last stand moment because she can read their minds and predict their moves Sherlock Holmes style? And did the fact that she just saw Simon get shot contribute to her ability to kill all those Reavers? Once you, you see the Reavers enact violence on somebody, and then, you become a little Reaver yourself, so she can get in their heads easier without just hearing, screaming.
Are you implying there's some kind of force at play here? Some kind of seeing into a force of sorts in this sci-fi Western environment.
I don't know what you mean.
that River is tapping into. A river that flows through the universe and the verse and binds it together.
Should the fact that River and Reaver sound so similar retrospectively have been our first hint that something is wrong about how Joss Whedon views women?
Should we have taken his warning that there's that every story needs a monster seriously?
Should we have let him throw Ezra Miller at Gal Gadot's boobs? Every time I say it, it gets more and more he physically picked them up and threw them at her.
The first time you said that, I was just oh yeah, fuck, he did that, didn't he? What's it? Zack Snyder's role in pop culture is just outweighed that Joss Whedon version for me. I guess was intended by the studio. Whatever. It's
It's in the past. Gal Gadot is fine. Everybody else in this movie, everybody else involved in that little sentence, is not doing great. And
yeah, I wonder if that's when Ezra Miller changed.
I think Ezra Miller might be a Reaver. Wait, hold up. Tell me that I'm wrong.
But let's move on.
Okay, so. Damn, that was a really good idea. Hang on. Put a pin in that. No. Put that down. Not like that. Okay. So, Miranda. Sorry, I just had to beat up somebody at karaoke. It's a real-life moon of Uranus. It's also the name of the planet the Alliance tried to pharmaceutically pacify. It's also the name of a character in The Tempest, along with the namesakes of the fictional Firefly canon celestial bodies Ariel and Caliban. Why did Joss Whedon Noted Shakespeare geek and noted horrible freak monster. Name the planet thusly.
That's a good question. It's one of my favorite Shakespeare stories that I've not read fully.
So, the character...
Miranda is a daughter figure, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Prospero's daughter, yes. We gotta stop saying Miranda. I can't afford to wave my arms around and say pew 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 so much.
Okay, got it. Prospero's daughter.
Yeah. She has the right to remain silent.
I am.
She was banished to the island along with her father at the age of 3 and subsequent 12 years of live with her father and their slave Caliban. Oh, hey, slavery's back. She is openly compassionate and unaware of the evils.
We found it, gang.
we did it, Reddit. She is
we did
openly
it.
She is openly compassionate and unaware of the evils of the world that surrounds her, learning of her father's fate only as the play begins. She's just like on a boat and she's like, wait, you said you were banished? I thought we were just going on vacation. I brought my sunscreen and everything.
Yeah, wait a second. Weren't we just retiring to this island countryside?
So, Wikipedia puts it as she is the pinnacle of femininity and the pinnacle of her femininity are her innocence and vulnerability, and these traits allow her to be readily manipulated first by her father, then by Ferdinand. Well, you haven't read The Tempest all the way through, but what do you have a take on Miranda?
Well, to tie it to our tale here, she seems like a very River figure. Someone who has many forces telling her what to do and how to go about things, and her kind of realization of, I assume, throughout the tale of finding her own footing and making her own decisions that differ from those are what sets her apart and completes her arc.
I don't think Miranda figures out. I don't know if she's like a full. I don't know if that's a fair call to say like, yeah, Miranda is punch. Oh god, this bit is exhausting. Yeah, Prospero's daughter, I don't think is a. I don't know if she like learns to like be an independent person.
Well, I will say I might be. I have not read the Tempest. I have seen Forbidden Planet, which is another sci-fi take on the Tempest story.
Oh, look at that!
Yeah, the daughter of the Prospero figure, that one, Altaria, has that kind of arc where eventually goes against her father's wishes, makes her own decisions, that kind of stuff.
River does kind of go. She doesn't really go against Simon, but I guess Simon is kind of the Prospero in that metaphor. If River is Miranda,
I was thinking of I was thinking a bit of the Alliance has a hand in her life, a big hand, and she kind of sheds that skin that kind of weapon that they're forcing her to become.
I mean, I think River might be a better character than what Shakespeare could conjure in 1585.
This is certainly the case, but why are we zooming in on Miranda here?
I just thought it was an interesting point that, like, the symbolism is pretty obvious. So why do we think that Miranda, the planet, is called that? Do we think that it's called that because the Reavers are innocent of all crimes? Yellow.
Yeah, it's just a rotten connection today, huh?
Can return to the home screen.
Hey, sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, I think we should get off the topic of Miranda and get back to the Reavers.
Okay. Yeah. So,
yeah.
It's called that because the Reavers are completely innocent of all crimes. And yeah, they're innocent. Yeah. That's why it's named after Prospero's daughter, is because they're innocent, definitely. So, anyway, moving on to the Reavers themselves. So, what if one of the Reavers was just a little bit different?
Yeah, like a Remy of sorts, from Ratatouille. Like, at first he's doing all the things that all the other Reavers are doing. But then he realizes, like, wait, I don't know if I want to be this kind of garbage-eating mouse.
And then his dad is like, you will be in the family business of eating mice. Or my name isn't Julius Reaver the Third. I haven't seen Ratatouille. I don't know what it's like.
I was gonna say, are you sure you haven't seen Ratatouille? Because you got the gist of it.
Yes.
And his brother's there, and he's like voiced by, I don't know, John Lasseter or whatever.
Ratatouille, you gotta eat garbage or else you're a sinner. I don't know. Is that what the brother sounds like?
A little less accurate.
Good. I'm glad.
It's a reason to see it is what we're learning.
No.
But yeah, no. It's we had the idea of this like kind of this Pixar take on the tale. Like, what would you do if you are this awakened Reaver when you have a moment where like, wait a second, what's going on here?
I'm eating people. Why?
Yeah, I wonder if like I'm thinking of a situation of like, say, all right. Classic Reaver endeavor. They land on a planet. They raid a village. You know, that kind of stuff. Terrible things that occur. They start eating a guy, and this Reaver. Let's call him Reavy. He smells something cooking that isn't the person that he's eating. This little hut in this village had a pot on the kettle.
Mm.
And something smells really good.
So he... Okay, so this is actually just Ratatouille, about a rat that can cook.
No, I'm not saying he can cook.
Oh.
I'm just saying that perhaps the impetus that could snap him out of it's like, wait a second, this delicious flesh from a cow tastes ain't half bad.
This is exactly like that South Park episode where they convince the Japanese whalers to stop whaling and to kill cows and chickens instead. And like it just ends with like a bunch of brutally murdered cows and chickens, and they're like, "Congratulations, now everything's normal."
So yeah, no, perhaps that's maybe that's so. Reavy, upon the raiding party leaving, Reavy wants to stay behind and say, "Hang on, I want to see if this Old West lifestyle is right for me."
Okay, I see.
Maybe there's something I'm not getting here. Wait.
I think the love interest in this movie?
Yeah, actually, I realize that I'm not ratatouilleing this. I'm kangaroo jacking it.
Fuck this fucking film. Yeah. I was looking forward to cleansing my brain of Kangaroo Jack with an actual good movie.
All right, let's take this back and you have pitch me what a Reaver that's not like the others might be thinking.
Yeah. So you're Reaving, right? You've got syringes in your face, and you're like,
yeah, for fun.
Yeah, for fun. You're innocent. You're carefree. You're literally carefree. Like, you don't even care if, like, your arm is attached or not. You're just running around, and then you, like, stub your toe, and you're like, oh, geez. And then you're like, wait, who's geez? Aw, dang. I just figured out how to reave. But backwards. It's, like, the opposite of reaving. Yeah. It's like... I'm learning how to be person again, and then like you look up at the night sky and you realize that like it's when it's hard to breathe up there, and you're like, now I'm crazy again. Everything's fine, but is it? Because you already had that thought, and now it's infected you. Sanity is a virus. I am the cure.
So two things about that.
Cattle for the slaughter.
Per what you said earlier, Reavers don't reproduce naturally. They siren call, Pied Piper summon other people to be Reavers. So therefore, every Reaver was once a ordinary person. By the logic of this, of that. Which means that, yes, it is something deep down inside of them that knows how to be a person. And I think it can be reawoken if it can go away.
I just thought of something unpleasant. Do the Reavers reproduce naturally?
Oh, I don't, not based off the articles that I read. I went to rule34.com. I looked at Reavers, didn't see nothing.
I read fucked up Space Monster Playboy for the articles, I promise. Not based on the articles I've read. Not based on some dude in front of a chalkboard who's like, did you know that Spider-Man game theory? Like...
Okay, how often are we going to float around the idea of Spider-Man's radioactive jizz? Because it's twice now we've flown close to that sun.
Is he strong? Yes, he is. He's got radioactive jizz.
Look out, it's spider junk.
Anyway, this Reaver who's not like the others. I mean, you look out at the edge of space and you all see something different. You look at the Reavers, like, reaving, doing terrible things, and you don't go Reaver crazy. Why don't you?
Well, I think it's because... correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't there not an edge of space? Isn't you get to the end of the verse, and there's just more stars out there?
Not if you go, like, out of the galaxy.
I guess not. Eventually there you get to darkness, but I could see the sight of a sky filled with stars to be inspiring if I were a turned Reaver.
Yes, but what if you look at the sky and there are no stars? You're just staring into the greatest blackness that's ever been. You're staring into the intergalactic space, because stars only exist inside a galaxy, you understand?
That's right.
So, what does intergalactic space look like? Probably not a lot, now that I say it like that.
Yeah. I mean, I look at darkness all the time. I'm just usually, like, sleeping.
Every time I close my eyes. Yeah. Okay, that's not the
same.
same.
I mean, like, I turn off the lights, put the blackout curtains, I'm like, cool, darkness.
Yeah, and I don't go crazy, so why are these Reavers being such bitches?
Yeah, these punk Reavers.
I love, like, dumb fuck Republican.
Always going crazy, looking into endless abyss.
I love, like, dumb fuck Republican response to cosmic horror as a concept. Just like, space isn't that scary, it's just round. It's not like ethnic minorities. Now that's scary.
That's part of it. You have to comprehend the endless void if you become a Reaver. Therefore, if you can't comprehend, you're safe.
Okay. Like Adam Baldwin, yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean Jane can't become a Reaver because he is too dumb. Did you know Adam Baldwin invented the word Gamergate?
Oh, I did not know this. Was it an actual gate somewhere in the Firefly universe?
No. He retweeted some bullshit about, like, ethics in journalism or whatever and hashtagged it Gamergate. And then that took off. Mm-hmm. Also, like, when they were talking about legalizing gay marriage back in, like, 2015, he made some homophobic rants about how, like, this means fathers and sons will be able to marry. And it's like, that's not a problem now, so why would it be... And also, in 2016, he encruised Ted Cruz as for the presidential nominee. This is a man who is allergic to the right side of history.
Yeah, it sounds like he's really Jane in that, is his rep there.
It's literally just you and Adam Driver are the only two good Adams I know.
I do not know.
Me neither. So,
let's zoom in on this premise here about the good. Before we, probably too late. Perhaps our monthly theme can guide us into the secret of Reaver happiness.
That's a great point. What is the monthly theme this month? Is
love Polygon.
Love Polygon. Do you love the Polygon?
I actually know what this one is for once.
Hooray!
So for those that don't know, Love Polygon is what happens when your favorite podcasters join a video game news network, where they talk about all the fun tricks of the new Legend of Zelda game. No, it's like a love triangle, but with more angles and shapes to it.
Yeah, it's like a love. There's a saying that, like, one person in a love triangle needs to be bi and attracted to both of the other people in the love triangle, or else otherwise it's just a woman backed into a corner.
Yeah, Speaking of love, Shakespeare, A Midsummer's Night's Dream is a perfect example of a love polygon.
Yeah, it's like a love triangle, but more complicated. Like, she loves him, he loves him, he loves her, they hate each other. They're both...
It starts off as a love Zed, and then it turns into, like, just crazier shapes from there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, how does that apply to Reaven?
Do you think... I think you hinted at it before. Can a Reaver not just reproduce, but could a Reaver love?
Huh. I mean...
Because they're nothing but aggression.
They're nothing but
And some say you can't have love without hate.
I don't know if that makes sense. But they're aggression incarnate, but they're also deeply traumatized is the reason why.
Therapy animal needs therapy. The Reavers need therapy.
I was thinking therapy animal for this one.
I don't think we're on the same page this week, but that's just going over everything that's been discussed. But go on with what you had there.
So finding love after trauma is honestly a deep question that I can't believe we've stumbled into in this dumbass episode. But like, I mean, after the trauma is that intense.
Well, I think there is a community in the trauma that is not that we haven't touched upon here. Is that it's not just singular trauma; it's shared. All these Reavers have these kind of same experiences. If we are talking about a therapy environment, it'd be a circle that includes a lot of them.
Oh, that's a great... Honestly, if my experience with trauma and shared trauma between different people, or like shared or similar trauma... Are you familiar with the phrase trauma bonding?
I assume it's like covalent bonds, but with trauma.
Nerd. It's like, it's just like, you know, just talking about like bullshit you've been through and then just clinging to each other desperately in an attempt to...
Yeah, the Breakfast Club.
Yes, like the Breakfast Club, except worse things than what the Breakfast Club went through.
Right.
So, yeah, that's basically what the Reavers are doing. They're basically all fucking all the time.
Yeah, you know, aggression incarnate.
I have never kissed anyone who had their teeth sharpened. And I've never kissed anyone with a tongue that is bifurcated down the middle. I have kissed someone with a tongue piercing, and it's interesting. So...
Yeah, I think at least one of those is a plus to the experience.
Yeah. The teeth... I feel like that's how you get your tongue ate.
A little bit. I mean, you don't need all your teeth to kiss. But as my presidential slogan goes...
Give me your teeth.
Yeah, but no, I think that there can be a shared love amongst the Reavers, and the fact that we see so little of them, I think might even point to that you know there's healing that's happening off screen here.
That's a great point because the Pax is going to leave their system. Like, why wouldn't it leave their system at some point? Why does it bond to their nerve cells forever?
Yeah, forever and ever. They left the air that gave them it.
Maybe that's...
Like, you know, and so the Reavers, the Alliance uses them as like a fairy tale, a myth to kind of scare people. Oh, not even scare people, they're just like, forget about it. Like, you know, they ain't real. Where maybe there is a PR campaign of sorts by these peace-loving Reavers. Maybe the rumors are so that people leave them be.
I mean, the other thing is, like, if they're not being exposed to the Pax drug anymore, maybe it's just like a feedback loop of, like, you know, get high on Pax, do a bunch of reaving, look at the reaving you and everyone around you is doing, go Reaver crazy. And then that's where the Reaver craziness comes in. That's why, like, Generation 1 Reavers are the same as Generation 2 and 3 Reavers.
Yeah, it's what do you call it? It's ravens that teach I'm sorry. It's crows that teach their young what faces look like, or good faces and bad faces, and there's kind of just shared history there.
Yeah.
No one's rocking the boat until maybe Revy comes along
and like sings a song about how much he loves stew.
Yeah, shares an aggressive love for stew.
But there's a problem, because his love interest, whose name, for some reason, she's just drawn to the name Miranda, also loves stew. Now we're in a love polygon.
There you go. Yeah, it's this... but Miranda has another lover.
Oh, and that lover's name is Stu, but like short for Stewart.
So yeah, we've completed all our obligations here.
Yes, good. So there's a Reaver PR team that Reavy is learning after learning a love for foods besides people.
So we know that the Reavers are intelligent enough to operate starships and fly around and stuff like that. Assuming that these effects truly leave them and they're kind of coming down from the Reaver madness, I would want to. If I were them, I would want to stay the fuck out of Alliance, radar. Like, oh, they think they pretend like we're a myth? Good. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, because otherwise they would just, the Alliance would want to just stamp them out or something. But if the Reavers make their presence known, then, if they make their presence and the cause for their madness known, which is what happens at the end of Serenity,
yes,
I don't see how that doesn't end in a second civil war for the Alliance.
Right. No, that's kind of what they're destined for. And if I was fucked up as much as the Mirandans were, then I would not want that to continue.
Yeah.
And to occur again.
Well, I mean, I think we learned an important thing about Shepard Book was right. If you just keep a Reaver in, isolation for long enough with, eventually you can Tarzan him.
Yeah. You can just kind of, you can show him.
I want to know about these strangers like meat.
Well, he's most of the way there.
Tell me, ma, can you show me?
I think it's time for us to take the Reavers to the final resting place.
Sound shiny.
Where we put them to rest. we put a hologram of them that will play forever, I guess. in a field.
Yeah, that's so weird. I don't know. We gotta make the gravestone spacey, or else it doesn't count as a space movie. Who decided this?
Yeah, well, you could just equally say it's Western and just put their hat on a stick.
Dope. Well, okay, that's a problem, because the good guys in Firefly don't wear hats, famously.
Put their brown coat on a stick.
Wash... It's unclear if Wash fought for the Independence or the Alliance during the war. All that is known is on his first mission flying in, he got captured and kept himself from being executed Scheherazade style using puppet shows.
Yeah, put his little dinosaurs on a stick.
Man. God bless you, 2002. You had such low hopes for us.
So, the Reavers. I love their role in the story and their adapted roots. Because oftentimes, especially when it comes to modern Westerns, there's certain elements that you have to trim out you can't really work with. The fact that for this series, it said, all right, let's fix, basically using sci-fi storytelling to parallel things and to tell the stories that you want to is one of my favorite things to both read about and do. Yeah, you can. Fiction's a sword that you can use to stab people that you don't like and fall upon yourself at the end of the movie. I don't know where I was going with that. But the Reavers are neat. They got a cool aesthetic, and I love their reputation. The operative, Jane, fucking everyone in the series is fucking frightened of them, and it's a great vibe that I think a lot of modern franchises don't have that kind of force. So, to me, as and the movie explores their, tragic beginnings, which is a great angle to not just to pin on them, but it especially doesn't discount what they're still the same kind of scary threat that they are. It's just you understand them a bit more, and hopefully we understand them even more after this. So, I'm giving Reavers a high score of a 9.5, a 9.4 out of 10.
Good. I was gonna say 9.5. That's crazy. But
listen, I have my reasons.
Yeah, I think Reavers are a very psychological monster, and that's not something you see in popular media these days, especially like big name, all the geeks know it. Your Marvels, your Star Wars, where the bad guys are just they're bad guys because we can't see their face, and that makes them bad. Which is probably why COVID is still around. But it's the Reavers are just all right, hey, look at how the costume department dressed you. Look at how I wrote Reavers. Look at how I wrote you in the script. Everybody's afraid of them. The fucking feds are afraid of you. The fucking, secret super government operative Chiwetel Ejiofor guy with the katana, he's afraid of you. The good guys are afraid of you. Everybody's just fucking go ape shit. Don't stop.
Yeah.
Just fucking go. That's raw. That's good.
It's awesome. Talking franchises, it's we haven't seen anything like this in any way whatsoever in, say, the MCU.
No.
For example. There's no force that everyone's fucking afraid of. There's some villain of the movie that shows up and does a thing. Everyone's shitting their pants about this force that can't really be solved. There's no, great reckoning coming to all the Reavers.
Yeah, there's no way to, stop all of them unless you just, get everybody to team up and go hunt them down, I guess, which is fucking crazy to try and do. Unless it's just, they just keep sending River after them.
Yeah, it's River versus Reavers. They're 8 and 8, at the top of this?
Man, XKCD did it. We finally did a Finding Monster Right episode that XKCD already did, which is just a 24-hour long movie of Summer Glau just beating the shit out of people.
There you go. But sorry, I interrupted you midpoint.
Oh, 10 out of 10.
Oh, great. Yeah. No, they're killer Reavers, and I'm glad that they're killer monsters in more ways than one.
Yeah. So, do we have get your big wooden spears ready, because we're gonna take them and plug them into something with some plugs.
I'm sorry, what's the context here?
Thank you for listening. It's time for plugs now.
Oh. Yes. You can chat with us at our Discord, the Finding Monster Right Discord. Link in the description. Please share this episode or one of your favorites with a friend. We're always looking for new listeners out there. We're soon going to be on more social media sites than the Twitter, where we currently are. I have a Blue Sky account that I can't wait to unlock FMR's potential on. So check us out next time for more and more podcasts and energy. It's our Sci-Fi July, and we're going strong.
Yeah, we're doing some sci-fi episodes. I was gonna do a drum roll leading up to Blue Sky, and then so I just did one after. That's the same, right?
It's the same. Yeah, we're good. Yeah, so join us next time where no one takes the sky from us then either.
Take my love, take my land, take me where I cannot stand. I don't care, I'm still free. You can't take the sky from me. Take me out to the black, tell them I ain't coming back. Burn the land and boil the sea, but you can't take the sky from me. There's no place I can be since I found serenity. You can't take the sky from me.